Say hi. Hi, my name is Brianna Watson. I don't know how to start these things, but anyways, you can call me Bri. I'm gonna talk a little bit about where I kind of started in my art career to where I am now. I'm gonna leave some thumbnails so things can be skipped and you're not like, oh my god, stop talking, haha. Okay, so I graduated art school with a BFA in animation in 2019, and I got my first, I guess, like, I don't want to say real job, my first studio job with this job at a studio as an animator in 2020, and I worked at this studio for 3 years. I started as an animator, and then I got promoted to lead animator. In 2023, the show got canceled. Aww. Yikes. So it's kind of at the point where I was like, okay, how the hell am I gonna pivot? Especially the animation industry has been a little bit hard as far as like work goes, but that's like a whole nother topic. I was at the point where I was like, okay, that sucks, but where's the silver lining in all of this? And the silver lining is like, okay, I have more free time now. When you're working in front of a computer for 10 hours a day, that really makes you not want to look at a screen at all. I was kind of like, okay, I have more time, I have more of the energy to do my own thing now. What is that? What is my own thing? That's starting a small business. Starting a small business was something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to sell merch and my work as products. When I was in school, that was something I really wanted to do. I dabbled in it a little bit in school, but obviously didn't have the knowledge or like the money or like the tools. I didn't really have much. I mean, I had like, I guess the art, of course, but now my art has grown exponentially from the time that I was in school. So I was like, okay, what the hell are we gonna make? How do we do that? How do we get started on that now? We have to have the merch, obviously. Boop, 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 boop. And that's going to take a little bit of time to build up, because like, let's say you're first starting out, maybe you don't have like the money for a lot, like a wide range of product at once when you first start out. I hope that makes sense. So you're going to start off kind of small, and I feel like beginner items are like keychains, stickers, prints. Those are like easier to make when you're first starting out. As I said before, I tabled a little bit while I was in school. I think the best way to start out is to do small and free or low cost markets firstly. So if you're at a college and your college is having like some type of like art fair thing, craft market, whatever words they use, apply to that, do that, because it's probably free to do, and that could be your first introduction to seeing what sells, what are people gravitating to, how to talk to customers, how to set up your thing. The thing about this, it's very, from where I started, from where I am now as far as like tabling goes, it does, you don't hit the ground running. Like, you have to, unfortunately, like all things, it takes work, and most importantly, money. My first out of college tabling experience was at Mocha Fest in 2024. I was a part of WIA. I was a part of WIA, which is an animation group, and they had a table at Mocha Fest, and they were asking their members if you wanted a table with WIA at Mocha Fest to apply. So I applied, and I got a little spot, and it was really cute. And that was my first I guess, like real, like out of college. Oh my god. That was my first real out of college tabling experience, and it was free. I didn't have to pay anything to table there, LOL sensei. So that was a really great way to start out, especially because Mocha Fest is a pretty big festival. I don't know if convention is the right word, but it's a pretty, oh my god. When you first start out and you're like, okay, I want a table, where do I table? I would gather a database of markets, and the way to do that is see where other artists are tabling. Some of them are going to be like bigger conventions. If you know an artist who lives in your state, city, whatever, seeing what markets that they're tabling at and putting that in like a spreadsheet and being like, okay, I know this happens around this time. I'm going to keep a lookout for these applications when they drop. What really helped me out when I first started out was I had a group of friends who were also interested in tabling and being small businesses. We all would just like play ideas off of each other, like, hey, like this market is opening, and we ended up forming our own art collective, the Gal Pals Collective. I'm gonna put that right there. Tabling does cost money, especially when you start doing bigger conventions, so it's really helpful to be able to split that table cost with somebody. I think in addition to free or low cost tables, once you kind of graduate from that to more markets and tabling conventions that like have a steeper fee, table fees could go from like, depending on the event, could go from like 80 to up to like 1,000 to table. So having somebody to split that table cost with you is really helpful, and 9 times out of 10 when you're starting out, you don't have a lot of stock to cover like a whole 6-foot table. I was asked this on Instagram: how do you handle the pressure and fear of expectations when applying to tabling? Okay, that's the first question. I don't. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Am I a success story? Depends on your definition of success. Am I where I want to be when it comes to being a business? No. The crazy thing about being a small business, especially an artist-based small business, is that you just keep going. The work never stops. I'm gonna be honest, rejection is something that is still very hard for me to handle. People always say like you can't, like it's not a reflection of your art, and I believe that 99% of the time. I don't think it is, but I still can't help but to sit here and be like, okay, what am I not doing? What is it that is not letting me in? Let me in. A really helpful thing that I kind of realize when applying to markets is that there are 3 really important things that a lot of these, maybe 4, I'll narrow it down to 3. They want to see your work. Honestly, Instagram works as a portfolio. 9 times out of 10, I keep on saying that, they also want to see an Instagram and a portfolio, or you could use your Instagram as a portfolio, but it helps to have both. But they want to see the work that you created. Boom, that's one, obviously. Second, they want to see that work as merch. So I can see that you draw like all these really beautiful illustrations, but like what is the thing that you're actually selling? This is where like product pictures are really important. Go find a nice patch of grass and take a picture of that shit on grass. Boom, that's all you need. So they want to see your art, and then they want to see that art as merch. Now you're probably asking, but what if I don't have any of that stuff yet because I'm just starting out? Well, you're gonna need the product to sell at the market that you're applying at. So what you're going to do is plan in advance. So if you know that this market that you want to do is going to be opening up applications in April, I'm a little bit of like a crazy planner, so I would say like start by March. Okay, let's say you're drawing it in February, you're making it in March, it's getting here beginning of April. Wait. Yeah, take the product pictures, applications open to the market, end of April. Boom, now you have it. Now the third thing, which is a little bit of extra caveat, and that probably might take a little bit while for you to have that, but pictures of your setup. When you are, and this is where the free to low cost markets come into play, because when you first start that, take pictures of your setup. I always that's as soon as I'm done setting up, that is the first thing I do. Sometimes it's hard because you only have like an hour to set up before the event starts, but find a way to take pictures. Just ingrain in your head, after I'm done putting up all this shit, I have to take a picture, because it really helps when the people reviewing your application can see what your booth or what your table is going to look like at this event. If you're just first starting out, you might not have that third thing, which is fine. There are a lot of markets who do accept first-time vendors, as long as you have like your work in a place that is viewable and the products you sell. And you don't have to have an online store open yet, by the way, but just like pictures of your products somewhere that is easily viewable by the person reviewing your application, then that helps tremendously. Managing the finances, that might be a whole nother video, and I'm still not even like fully good at it. I do my best. But spreadsheets, you're gonna need so many spreadsheets. You need a spreadsheet for the cost of material. By the way, if you are an artist, like this is your profession, these are also, I shouldn't even give tax advice. I'm not gonna give tax advice. You should really consult somebody that does that, an adult. Consult an adult on taxes. Yeah, if you're an artist and like this is your full-time or side thing, whatever, these are business expenses because you're operating as a small business, and those are tax write-offs. You're gonna need a spreadsheet of cost of materials. So if you're printing your stickers at home, printer, ink, sticker paper, laminate, like all those stuff, you need to keep a spreadsheet about that. Your second spreadsheet, which will be your inventory stock. So like this keychain, I have this much of this product, it cost this much, and you want to keep track of how much of that item you're selling. When I first started out, I used to bring all the shit that I had. I brought all the keychains, like all the stock that I had at these markets, which was stupid. And here's why. If I have 25 of a keychain, I could see from previous markets that I'm not selling all 25 of that keychain. I'm usually selling 12, so I bring 15 stock, and if I sell out, I sell out. That's something that it's hard to like figure out sometimes, because it does vary from market to market. Like say a local art market, I could get away with bringing 12 keychains, but if I'm doing like a 4-day convention, I need to bring like 20. So it really varies, but this is why the product inventory spreadsheet is good. I like to have different tabs depending on the market. So I have one for like Mocha Fest, one for Anime NYC. I could see what product has been consistently doing well, and this also helps me when I'm thinking about restocking. Like, is it worth it to restock this? It doesn't really sell. If I know that this product isn't doing that well, maybe I won't restock, or maybe I'll restock in lower increments. The third spreadsheet I like to have is the markets that I've applied to and are going to apply to. So that's what I said earlier in the video, keeping a spreadsheet of the markets that you want to apply to. I just kind of drop down like I applied to this, or I didn't apply, or I'm waiting to apply, or I got rejected, or I got accepted. And I have all the information in there of like how much the table costed, what are like the specs of the table, where is this event. Yeah, as far as like how to manage yourself, like having a budget when you start out is really important. You have to spend money to make money, to spend money to make money, to spend money to make money. So having a budget when you first start out is really important, just so you can navigate the cost. Oh, hello. Okay, so you can navigate the cost of the merchandise, the table setup, and the actual cost of the table, plus transportation. That was a really quick rundown. I guess it's more of the tip of the iceberg of tabling. I could go more in depth on certain topics if that is what people want. I guess comment below if that's what you want. I'll be really honest. Being an artist, especially nowadays, is very hard, but I will say I'm the most creatively fulfilled I've ever been, I think, in life. I really love having the freedom to make whatever I want, and it is really gratifying to see people wear it. I made this shirt. Also available in my online shop. I should plug my stuff in. I have an online shop. Yeah, I hope that was somewhat helpful, or maybe it was nice to hear me yap. It's my goal this year to make at least one YouTube video, so hopefully that's this, and hopefully I didn't just waste 30 minutes of my life. But yeah, okay, till next time, comment, subscribe, like, say hi, sensei. Yeah. And yeah, stay safe, love you, bye.